Okay, Carlos, the recording is in progress again. Please continue.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and thank you very much, Umar from Ghana. I'm very much impressed. For the short time you are available, you are able to put something together. I believe you and your team, you are going to do much more. Of course, we are expecting a lot from you from Ghana. Thank you. So, so when you finish preparing your material or your tools together, and make sure you submit them to the Continental team so that we're able to synchronize them together. So we move straight to Guinea, and from Guinea we go to Benin, and from Benin we go to DR Congo. And after DR Congo, Egypt is going to be last if Egypt is there. Thank you. Guinea. Do you have Guinea on board? Do we have Guinea on board? Okay, I think Guinea is not on board, but earlier I heard somebody, Mohamed Bari from Guinea. Okay, so can we get DR Congo? I mean, sorry, Benin. Is Benin there? Somebody from Benin? All right, okay. I saw DR Congo inter alia. Can you come up with your presentation? You have 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm seeing Sanko from Guinea is going to do the presentation for Guinea. Yeah, go ahead, you have the platform. You want to share your screen? Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself. Mr. Sanko, unmute yourself, please. Can you unmute yourself? The audio, just unmute the audio. Okay, now you're there.
Hello?
Yes, you're loud and clear. Go ahead, you have 15 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mohamed Mustafa Sanko, UnityNet Guinea chapter. I am going to be brief this evening in my presentation. For UnityNet Guinea was created on the 2nd of January this year, 2022. And we have actively been on activities for 2 weeks. We are putting on preliminaries for now, such as registration of UnityNet through the Guinea government, and also putting in place active members. I mean, a team of experienced and dedicated people that are ready to move ahead with UnityNet Africa in Diaspora initiatives in Guinea. Already there is a team that is meeting every week, once in every week. We have had our first meeting already last week, and Wednesday after tomorrow will be our second meeting to discuss issues concerning the 6-year plan, yearly plan, monthly and weekly plans. Before our next program of meeting, I am sure we'll be able to present our program from UnityNet Guinea chapter. I thank UnityNet Management Africa and Diaspora for this initiative that is really going to help the world at large. And Guinea, I'm sure, will not be left behind. I don't have much to say for today. Before our next meeting, I'm sure we are going to present as other countries have done. And we have learned from them. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sankar, from Guinea as your representative. Yeah, so we appreciate for the short time UnityNet Africa was introduced to you. Guinea came out openly, and I appreciate it. And I'm seeing the way you are accelerating at this point. It's so much faster that you're moving a lot of things ahead, and we appreciate you. Thank you. So ensure that you put your tools together and submit them at continental level. We go to DR Congo. I think DR Congo is standby. Yeah, can you go ahead? We have Marche Vene de la Con is going to do the presentation for DR Congo. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My friend, yeah.
My interpreter, yes. Okay, nashukuru kwa kikao ya leo.
I'm very glad to partake to this meeting.
Na nashukuru kwa kutupatia nafasi.
And for the opportunity you have given us to partake.
Na tunaomba msamaha kwa sababu connection inatusumbua, hata wenzetu tuko nao wanatusumbua.
We are very sorry because we missed a great part of the meeting because of the network instability.
Mimi naitwa Maisha Vianney Nyambwe.
My name is Maisha Vianney Nyambwe.
Niko president kwenye chapter ya DRC.
I'm the head of DRC's chapter.
Na kitu kimoja nitafuta kusema juu ya kazi za UnityNet.
I would like to say something concerning UnityNet activities.
Tunaenda sawa.
As concerning that activity,
tunaweza kuwa udhaifu lakini tunaenda sawa na kazi iko sawa.
We are excelling, except some exceptions, but we are excelling. That's what I can say.
Kwa kazi za unit kubwa ambazo tumeweka committee, japo tutamaliza lakini kumekuwa committee.
We have already got the committee, though we haven't finished yet.
Na unajua Kongo ni kubwa sana.
As you know, DRC is a very big country.
Nchi yenye kuwa na jimbo 26.
A country which is made up of 26 provinces.
Na province moja yenyewe ni kubwa, ni zaidi ya province moja inashinda hata Rwanda na Burundi.
And each province is very big, considered as a country.
For example, kuko inyuma inapita Rwanda na Kongo na Burundi, Rwanda na Burundi.
Yeah, there are some provinces which are bigger than two countries like Rwanda and Burundi. One province.
Ni nchi kubwa ambayo inajulikana kwa historia na mali mingi na vitu vingi, lakini watu wanaishi mpovrete mweko hali ya juu.
It is a country that is potentially rich, yet people are dying of hunger and great poverty.
Na kwa inakuwa na watu zaidi ya milioni 84 milioni.
It has more than 84 millions of inhabitants.
Okay, kwa hiyo kwa wingi ya watu na magumu ya watu wako nayo,
taking into account the great number of the population,
tumechagula kutumika kwa ordre numerode,
and the problems which are observed in the country, we have chosen to work on the sustainable development goal number 2.
Nisema family zero.
That is entitled Zero Hunger.
autour des cibles et indicateurs relatifs à la sécurité alimentaire et nutritionnelle.
It has some items among which some are related to food safety and nutrition.
Na ile tumetumika plaka nkenale yenye natumika juu ya Caesar.
We have a quinquennial plan that goes up to 6 years.
Na kwa ajili ya hiyo tumekuwa na njia ambazo tumezisibleazo kwa sababu ile ODD numero D inagusa karibuni ma ODD zote.
Yes, it is worthwhile mentioning that the Sustainable Development Goal embodies other sustainable development goals. It is one which embodies other sustainable development goals.
Na kwa ajili ya hilo tumeweka ile na tuna njia zenye tumezitilize kwa ajili ya kufikia hiyo juu ya kuweka mwisho kwa njala.
Yes, we have some targets, some items concerning the target, such as food safety and nutrition,
na ile
water and sanitation.
No. Ekutemwa. Ambie na kwa ile tumekuwa na masible ambazo tumezikamata juu ya kufikia ODD numero D. Sema sasa.
Okay, we have some targets which we focus on in order to reach the sustainable development goals number 2.
Na ya kwanza tulikamata mwaile tulikamata juu ya plantation des arbres.
The first concerns tree growing
Et lutter contre le changement climatique.
And fight against global warming.
Kwa sababu unajua kwamba kwa hii njia juu ya kukosa hewa, juu ya mazingira na chakula inakosekana, ni na contribute juu ya faiblesse inaleta usi juu ya kukosa chakula.
We suppose that the fight against global warming is one way of promoting food in our country.
Na ile tumeweka strategies zenye kupanda miti, lakini miti yenye itagusa juu ya amani na kupatanisha watu na iproduce kwa ajili isaidie kwa ajili ya protection.
That is the reason why we assume that we should grow tree not only for the sake of climate conditions, but also for the sake of harmony between communities, because each one will be called to contribute to that activity.
Juu ya agriculture et sécurité alimentaire.
We have also the target concerning agriculture and food safety.
Kwa sababu kwa njia ya mlimo tunaamini watu ile bwaki inaweza isha ile malnutrition na watu wanaweza kupata chakula.
We assume that thanks to agriculture we can have production to fight against food insecurity and malnourishing and other evils.
Tumesema tena juu ya santé et nutrition communautaire.
We also focus on health and community.
La santé et nutrition communautaire.
We also focus on nutrition and community health.
Tumesema juu ya education et formation professionnelle.
We have also the target concerning education and professional training.
Tumesema juu ya l'eau, hygiène et assainissement.
We have also a target, an item concerning water, hygienic services and sanitation.
Promotion des droits humains et protection des enfants.
We are also promoting human rights and children protection as another item.
Kwa kweli tumejua juu ya programu imetubeba wakati mwingi na vitu vingine, lakini hatujamalizia kupanga vizuri, lakini tutakuwa tutaisukuma kila kitu kisi tumepanga, lakini kila kitu kinaenda sawa sawa.
Yes, so we will send our program, our quinquennial program, as soon as we arrange everything, because what we give now is the detail, is a summary. We do not give the detail, but when you read the document, you will get further detail.
Mais dans nos programmes stratégiques de 6 ans,
But
ce que nous visons,
we would like to mention that in our 6 years quinquennial program,
dans le but d'éliminer la faim, assurer la sécurité alimentaire,
we have the goal of eradicating hunger and promoting food safety,
améliorer la nutrition et promouvoir l'agriculture durable.
to improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture.
Durable. À travers ce plan, nous voulons aider la RDC à atteindre l'objectif FEM 0, ODD numéro 2.
Through the mentioned plan, we aimed at helping our country, the DRC, to reach the goal of sustainable development entitled Zero Hunger.
Se présenter ODD nous permet d'atteindre tous les ODD en diversifiant nos activités.
That sustainable development helps us to reach our sectors of life in our communities.
Comme on vient de terminer de citer, on a déjà cité l'éducation,
Yes.
la propriété, l'agriculture, la bonne santé et le bien-être, éducation et consorts.
The sector that we have mentioned by the list will be reached by the sustainable development goal number 2, as we have been saying.
En bref, c'est comme ça qu'on doit travailler dans 6 ans.
That is briefly speaking, that's what we are going to afford in the 6 years.
On doit envoyer sur je te prends le rapport. Ok, c'est comme ça.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Notre champ de bataille jour au jour, c'est focalisé sur la lutte contre la faim zéro.
Yes, briefly speaking, our battlefield focuses from day to day on zero hunger. That's our struggle.
Un fléau qui décime tous les pays de l'Afrique.
That is a problem that destroys almost all the African countries. The hunger is a problem that destroys almost all the African countries.
Nos actions se focaliser également sur le plaidoyer à l'obtention des fonds nécessaires pour atteindre nos objectifs.
Thus, our actions focus on the plead in order, we are going to do the lobbying in order to get financial support so as to achieve our goals.
Oui. Comme vous savez que
l'approche multisectorielle nous permettra d'atteindre la fin zéro.
Yes.
Ok, la nutrition, élément essentiel à la réussite de toutes les ODD.
As it is known, nutrition is an essential element in order to reach good health conditions. Agriculture, therefore, and food safety is one of the pillars of nutrition.
Jusqu'à 45% des décès des enfants en RDC, de ces cas sont causés par la malnutrition.
According to previous researches, we got the impression that about 40 and 45% of children under 5 years old die because of malnutrition. Yes, there are also a great rate of children under
difficile sans une meilleure alimentation.
Yes, we also noticed that it's difficult to bring up children without safe nutrition.
Tuwaterera waambia iko mingi ile ni kwa kifupi.
We also noticed that children health is improved if only they are breastfed. That is the reason why we also focus on women's health conditions, and their independency in household income.
La santé et la nutrition des enfants s'améliorent davantage
Polepole soma lisez la santé. Okay.
Okay. Another notice is that accessing to water and sanitation is another essential element that makes up nourishing conditions. Apart from that, we assume that electrification or electrical energy in household is a difficult element in our country. That is the reason why we assume that we'll also promote electrification in our program. Yes, previous researchers have shown that a great rate of malnutrition could influence up to 11% of loss of BIP in some countries. The loss of BIP up to 11%.
Sans infrastructure résiliente, a tendance d'être mise en danger.
Without adequate infrastructure, also nutrition has a great tendency of being damaged.
Lorsqu'il y a une égalité sociale dans les pays, il est difficile d'assurer la nutrition de la population.
We are also struggling against social inequality in our society, because we assume that when there is social inequality in a country, it is very difficult to ensure nutrition for the population.
S'attaquer à l'utilisation et à la dégradation des ressources naturelles est essentiel pour le partage de celles-ci et l'amélioration à l'accès à une alimentation de qualité.
Yes, we are also struggling against the degradation of natural resources so as to have access to good safety conditions.
Le changement climatique peut être à l'origine d'une diminution de la production agricole et
global warming or climate change is one of the elements that contribute to the decreasing of agriculture production and can also influence the lack of water.
Your screen stopped sharing, sir. You've stopped sharing your screen. If there's more, please share your screen.
No, sir.
Problem ya energy kwenye battery ya machine.
Yes, we have got some problems here.
Okay.
That is the reason why you can.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Please continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, we have been saying that it's clear that in lakes and rivers, we can find food. That is the reason why we are also struggling for the welfare and the improvement of our lakes and rivers. We can also have electrification and food safety through those natural resources.
La dégradation des sols menace notre habileté à
Yes.
cultiver de la nourriture.
We are also fighting against the damaging of the soil because we notice that we won't have any production when the soil is not it's not given good conditions.
La guerre et conflit sont les facteurs majeurs de l'insécurité alimentaire aussi.
We also notice that war and conflicts among community members is one of the factors of food insecurity.
Et l'aide allouée à la nutrition est à une rentabilité élevée de $1 investi pour la nutrition engendre $16.
Yes, we also notice that the help allocated to the nutrition can give an income, a great income, such as $1 of saving.
Investissement pour nutrition a démontré.
Yes, when we invest $1 through nutrition, we can get about $16 for economical growth.
Voilà pourquoi l'ODD 0.0 nous facilite d'atteindre tous les objectifs de développement durable.
That is the reason why we assume that when we tackle the sustainable goal development number 2, we will tackle all the mentioned sustainable development mentioned in our plan.
Et voilà, à cela nous pensons éradiquer la faim qui ruine notre pays en totalité.
That is the reason why we assume that once achieving that goal, we will get zero hunger as we have planned it in our quinquennial program of 5 years. Thank you very much. That's what we have presented in summary. Further information can be found in the document. Yes, we have got so many problems. That's the reason why you cannot see it. But next time, we hope to improve everything.
Carlos, back to you.
Merci Congo DRC. Merci Monsieur Marche and team. We're grateful for your presentation. We, of course, some of us who can read or listen French, we can follow up clearly, and some of us, we can find it later. Thank you so much. I want to do it in English so that everybody generally can get me. Thank you for what you have done. I think Guinea can learn from that one, and also Benin can learn from that one, because we've been waiting for Benin, but I think Benin is not ready. So we're going to have a final presentation from the Continental Program Directors team, for them to provide us a summary of what's the draft, what's their plan at continental level, looking at all the presentations have been submitted by various chapters. And so therefore, we want you to do your presentation in a summary. Remember, before, let me say this, you are going to put all these presentations together to ensure that we have what we call a structured standard strategic plan, annual plan, M&E, etc., and all these ones down to the end of January. Thank you. Go ahead, strategic team. Yes. strategic team at continental level, the program directors. Who is your presenter? The presenter can go ahead and do the presentation. You make sure you share your screen. Thank you. Is Mr. Patrick there? Patrick from Malawi, who is a continental program director, or is gone? Is anybody from the team? Anybody from the team? Yes, Fatmata Akam, you are the Deputy Continental Program Director. Can you say something? We are waiting on you before we wrap up this meeting.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. You're allowed and
yes, we are not able to finalize, but towards the next meeting, because at first we did the financial policies and M&E. Then the promise that we were supposed to meet, but we are not able to meet. So the meeting was canceled. So I believe towards the next meeting, we will meet and do the presentation.
Yeah, Madam Deputy Program Director at continental level, what the various chapters are presented is what you're supposed to do for us today. And we expect your continental team to be able to present to us a draft of the plan strategic or the proposed strategic plan, the annual, the M&E, and the monthly, including here I'm not talking about Sierra Leone. I'm talking about the continental program team that's supposed to do presentation today, and we gave you almost 1 week or 2 weeks notice for you to prepare yourself. I know you've started doing something, and we all agreed that we should ask the various chapters to submit their plans so that we can synchronize them together and get our final plans. So do you want to say something around that one?
Yes, Philip Keto is working on it. Most of the chapters have not yet submitted. He is working on it and sending it to us, so we finalize it for the next meeting. Sorry about that. Philos is working on it, but we've not got, because he sent us the email where all the chapters we are supposed to send. But for now, he has not received everything, but he's working on it. He's on it. I think we'll finalize it this week for submission the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to summarize this one. My dear colleagues, we have a huge assignment ahead of us.
Sure.
Before those, okay, I think Lloyd wants to say something. Let me conclude before Lloyd, and then we have Kamini. I want to say this, that remember the program directors or the program team is the nucleus of the whole continental thing, which means in terms of programming all our activities that we are going to implement in the future, they are coming directly from the program team. So we expect the program team to be robust and to ensure that they manage their time well and ensure that they deliver the required tools appropriately. Because the last week of this month, we are going to do a presentation to the global team to tell them what we have done so far and what our expectations from them, what we are expecting them to come in. Remember, we are looking for funding, partnership, and so many stuff. So this is very, very key and time conscious. Thank you. Want to unmute and say something, and then next is coming. Yes,
I guess
Lloyd.
yeah, okay. I just wanted to say that I would like to work more with the board of the African diaspora group to develop sort of the continental plan and action agendas. Because what we are doing is tied to very much to the calendar. So I am in the process of completing an online calendar, putting all of our events into that calendar so that we are coordinating all of the chapters to essentially do very similar things. So rather than each chapter coming up with their own agendas and plans on how to move forward, we coordinate as much as possible on the calendar events so that we come at this in terms of this approach that we're taking to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals, through our process, the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board, Goodwill Ambassadors process of globalization, so that we come together to implement these solutions as a collective, so that we are all essentially doing very similar things in all of our local communities. So this is why we have the events, the coordinated events for
Lloyd, we lost you, but thank you. And you have one other person whose hand is raised, Carlos.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
We lost Lloyd, but we have one other person whose hand is raised.
Okay, so can Kamin say something? Kamin Smith from South Africa.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, it's leading in us transforming ourselves that we become more inspiring for others in the world out there. I thought I would leave people with that statement. But to add, I really appreciate being here tonight and listening to the presentations. The only thing for me that seems a bit absent is that a lot of it is about the SDGs, but it's not aligned to the AU 2063 agenda. And I think a bit more thought needs to be given in that regard, because the 7 aspirations and the 21 goals is very clear, and it actually incorporates all the SDGs. Secondly, the AU has taken a decision in February 2020 in terms of human, financial, and economic inclusion. And it's very important that we shouldn't just treat the human matter as we will include human youth. We need to put out the parameters on how we align it to the AU's program. And there is some work that's already done, but how we enrich our communities in that regard. The other issue that it's also come to, that's not coming through, is that the UN has taken particular decisions on persons with disabilities. And it's also important for us to be very clear in all our programs on how we're going to do that. And we need to stipulate that in the collective program. And then lastly, the UN gave us a decade for recognition justice for people from African descent, from 2015 to 2024. We've got 2 years left in that. And not much work has been done around that on the continent. But in the diaspora, as I was serving ambassador previously to Finland and Estonia, we initiated started with some projects between the diaspora in Finland, in Norway, and in Canada. And the other thing that I feel is a bit missing is this is UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. That diaspora is the 6th region of the AU. It has a remittance bill of 48 billion to the continent in 2019. It went down by 5.4% in 2021. And so there's a lot of money coming in, but how do we get to work with the diaspora abroad? And that is one of the issues that we, which were very few African ambassadors, had created a premise in Finland to unite the diaspora in some way or the other to work together. So you can use those networks. And how do we partner with those networks? Because it's fine to have individual programs, but the broader issues in terms of silencing the guns, which I'm glad the DRC came out very clearly to say, without peace, we cannot create sustainable food security. So that's just a few of the issues that I think is important to look at going forward when we develop the broader African and diaspora program. Because you cannot do things without what is the national endeavors, but also the continental endeavors. And I think it's important for us to take that into consideration as we move forward in developing the final strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Camille. We appreciate your submissions. And of course, we're going to look at them considerably as we are developing our continental plans. So
Excuse me,
thank
Carlos.
you for, yeah?
Excuse me, thank you so much for your commentary. This is Andrew Williams Jr. On your screen, you'll see on the right-hand side, the African Union's Agenda 2063 goals. I'm sorry, on the right-hand side are the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals. At the bottom of the screen, there's the African Union Agenda 2063 goals. As you can see, you can access this by simply Googling the African Sustainable Development Map. Also, I do want to make very clear that we are, in fact, very much aware of the International Decade for People of African Descent that runs from 2015 to 2024. You're absolutely correct. There's very little time left. However, it's also important to recognize that on August the 2nd of 2021, for the first time ever, the United Nations actually established the Permanent Forum for People of African Descent. So that there are several frameworks that exist for the work that we're doing here to integrate into that. I've been so far quiet because it's only when we, this group, are able to organize and identify exactly what we're doing together that we can best integrate with ongoing activities. But yes, thank you so very much for your commentary. Oh, finally, as far as the disability community is concerned, I myself am one of those disabled. but there is a specific program called Envision 2030. You can Google that as well. And there are 17 sustainable development goals for those of us with disabilities. And they provide guidelines for ways that you can integrate work in the disability community with others and vice versa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for that submission. I think Carmen have it very clear now that we are inclusively, we have all the indicators she raised. We have them within our conference, and we're going to ensure that we strategically going to work with all those ones. That is actually the plan. That's the focus. Thank you. So generally, I want to invite other people who may want to say any comments. You have 1 minute or 2 minutes to say something before we wrap up. Anybody who wants to say something, you can raise your hand, and then Lloyd, do you want to add something? Yes.
Yeah, no, it seems like you might not have heard some of the last things I was saying in the previous time I was trying to say, but I wanted to emphasize exactly what Andrew was saying. We do need to come up with a sort of a common agenda, what everybody's going to be doing. So this is why tying it to the sort of the yearly schedule of events. But what we are trying to do is essentially establish what we call the Unity Gardens, this infrastructure. So this is an infrastructure development process here, where we are trying to develop basically learning infrastructure in every local community through these gardens, through the network that we are trying to develop that will support all of these learning programs in what we call the regenerative development solutions. So the gardens themselves, these learning gardens, are demonstrations of the regenerative development solutions that we would like to have implemented across Africa and around the world. Eventually, by 2030, we'd like to see many thousands of these solutions implemented in every local community, or as many as possible.
You have 30 seconds. You have 30 more seconds, Lloyd.
Yeah, no problem. So this is essentially what we would like to do. We're going through this process, what we call the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board process of localization of the global goals, in order to bring communities together to build these partnerships at the local level. So those multi-sector partnerships. So the planting of the trees of peace and reconciliation is this process of creating partnerships so that we can create those Unity Garden classrooms that are connected to the virtual collaborative network, where we can deliver the programs of education and training. And
Thank you so much,
we
Lloyd.
just need to be aligned for all doing the same essential programs.
Great. Thank you. Back to you, Carlos. And if Carlos is not here, he did open the floor for any closing thoughts of 1 minute for any of our participants. All of you are welcome. We have the time,
Yes.
so the floor is open. Go ahead.
Yes, yeah. You have 1 minute to do your submissions, your recommendations, the way forward, your suggestions as to what we can do best to ensure that we have it very clear, so that our partners coming on board, we notice us that we are really strategic and we have something clear.
And if not, we'll move to close. The ball is in your court.
Yeah.
Hi, Carlos and everyone. Good evening.
Yeah,
Please
and who's talking?
Please introduce yourself and your country and then your statement. Thank you.
Okay. No, this is Juliet from South Africa. I will just take 2 seconds to say that the only point I'd like to raise, and I appreciate the points raised by my associate, Yeah, but the one point I'd like us to look at is synergies, particularly in countries that are nearby. For instance, if we're in South Africa, synergies with the SADC countries, especially on those things that directly affect communities in neighboring countries. I don't know if I'm making sense. For instance, I'll use Zimbabwe or Mozambique. Mozambique's program could include how they work in collaboration with the South African program to minimize impact on both communities, because there's a lot of cross-border relation and trade and movement. So whether it's in an issue of crime, anything else that actually affects the development and the improvement of communities. Yeah, I think synergies and collaborations is also important. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Let me also say that, of course, we do know that last year, the African Continental Free Trade Area went into effect. We haven't discussed yet the fact that this is the first 10-year implementation plan of the African Union's Agenda 2063. So there's also a time ticking there. But yes, SADC is very important, as is ECOWAS for the West African countries and the East African community. But again, our task is to self-organize so that then we can integrate and impact those areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carlos, back to you, or we're closing. Balls in your court.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you, Andrew. Okay, so any other person? Any other submission? Much. I want to appreciate the entire team today, all the presenters, all the various countries or chapters who made it possible to attend. And also remember that this is not an easy work, and we are developing the framework to ensure that we have a very strong platform to move ahead. That we're going to work together to ensure that we work strongly. And so,
well, just a moment, please. We do have other people raising their hands now, and it would be remiss if I did not first recognize Princess Seppi from South Africa, my beloved daughter, who is the one that is coordinating the South African effort among our other collaborations. So Princess Seppi, please introduce yourself, and then the next person. Daughter, are you there?
Hello, I'm from Chad. I'm calling from Chad
Republic.
Republic.
Your name is not Princess Seppi. Just a moment, please. Princess Seppi, if you're able to unmute yourself. If not, we'll proceed. All right, sir, from Chad, please go ahead.
Hello, good evening to everybody.
Good evening. Chad.
Yeah, I'm sorry that it is my second time to be in the meeting. So next time we will send our plan. So I'm sorry for not be ready. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diodene from Chad. Yes, I'm in constant discussions or collaboration with you. And so try to step up strongly as a chapter to ensure that you match up with the others. Okay, so any other person? Yeah, you can mute yourself, please. Diodene, you can mute yourself from chat. Yes, thank you. Okay, so if nobody else is going to say something, and once again, I want to thank you. Our next meeting is going to be next Monday, and we're going to have everything that has been presented today summarized, and we're going to hand it over to the Continental Program Strategic team so that they put all the synergies together to ensure that we have it at continental level. We're going to consider all indicators and make it inclusive to ensure that we have one plan that speaks for the continent and that we will collaboratively work with the global plan. That's exactly what we're going to do. Why we did this is because we want to have a clear face of what the various chapters are doing, their intentions, and how they are going to do it, and their partnership. And so at the end of the day, we're going to have a clear representation of our strategic work plan at national level, and versus also projects that we are going to focus on in the future. Thank you, thank you. I want to say, you can say goodbye, and until we see all of us again in the next meeting. Bye-bye.
Thank
Oh,
you.
just
Bye.
one final thought. If you're able to save the chat, if you're on your computer, you can save the chat by clicking on the 3 buttons at the bottom right-hand side next to the chat. If you're on your phone, please make sure we have your email address, or you're a member of the WhatsApp group, and we'll share the replay there, as well as any notes. Thank you very much. This is Andrew Williams, Jr.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And this is Carlos Richard Sankar, the Continental President for UnityNet, Africa and Diaspora. Bye.
Thank you, Carlos, and thank you, Andrew.